Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome officially to week 3, day 2, digital marketing of the Digital Creative Bootcamp. Thank you so much for joining us again for today's session. We have a lot more of you in numbers today, so I'm hoping you're feeling refreshed and rejuvenated and not too stressful or tired after Labor Day yesterday. As you know, well, for those of you who have been here before, we just have to run through the housekeeping rules for those of us who may be newcomers to the Zoom room. So give me a few minutes before we head into this morning's official welcome to just brief you guys on the rules of the room, and then I will hand over to our presenter for today, Monique. So hi everybody, my name is Noel Black. I will be your moderator for today. And as I said, welcome to week 3 of the boot camp. This would be your final digital marketing session. So it's a bit bittersweet because of course you're excited to hear all the gems that Monique is about to drop, but none of us want all of this knowledge and learning to end. So of course, during the workshop, we encourage all participants to keep their cameras on so that we can make this workshop as interactive as possible. So you'll see a colorful border around the presenter, participant, or host who is speaking at any given time. So that's how you know who has the floor. However, all microphones will remain muted for the duration of the session because we want to avoid any noise, feedback, or interruption to the person presenting. Now, the chat, however, will be moderated for the duration of the workshop. So that's where you'll get the ability to communicate with us. And what we wanted to do is just drop any questions, queries, or concerns that you might have directly related to the content being taught or shared in the chat. And then as the moderator, I will let the presenter know during designated question and answer segments about your queries or concerns. Another option that you do have as well is to use the raise your hand feature. And how you find that is at the bottom tab of the Zoom room, you'll see an icon for participants. When you click on that, it will bring up a column to the right hand of your screen. And at the lower end of that column, you'll see the option to raise your hand. Once you click on that, a blue hand will come up beside your name. I'll click on it, give you the floor, and you'll have the ability to speak to the presenter at any time directly. So we encourage you guys to be interactive in a productive way. So we want to discourage, of course, any obscene or disrespectful language or imagery in the chat, and instead encourage you guys to ask questions directly related to the content being shared. If Monique, as the presenter, prompts you guys for questions or feedback, or asks you to engage in an activity with her for the group, please do so, because of course, the information that she's sharing with you is really invaluable and you're here to learn. There will be an Ask Sagicor segment after the workshop that we'll ask you to stick around for, because there you'll get the opportunity to speak directly to a private business banker, and he or she will be on today to really answer any questions that you have about your business. So really, we want you to take advantage of that. Be sure to follow us on social media at the Kingston Creative Hub. And if you're sharing content about the workshop, please use the hashtag Kingston Creative Hub and Digital Creative Bootcamp. And I will drop the social media links in the chat for you to see later. I will also be dropping a link to a sign-up form. Now, as you know, this is an initiative put on by the Kingston Creative Hub, and we'll be opening a space in July in downtown Kingston, a creative co-working space. And if you want more information on those packages and the amenities that will be available to you, I'm going to drop that form in the chat, and you guys will be able to sign up and get more details on that. Okay. Now, as you know, or those of you who have been at previous sessions, this is a joint venture between Kingston Creative and the Hub Co-working, and unfortunately, neither partners could be here with us this morning, so I'll just be doing a brief welcome on their behalf, after which I'll hand over to Monique to start today's session. So, our mission at the Kingston Creative Hub is to enable creatives to succeed so that they can create economic and social value, gain access to global markets, and have a positive impact on their local community. We at the Creative Hub are committed to building an art district and creative hub in downtown Kingston. the new Kingston Creative Hub is a partnership, as I said, between Kingston Creative and the Hub Co-working. And this is just going to be a co-working space for creatives where you can rent a virtual office or business address, a permanent office space. You can attend workshops, rent meeting rooms for you and your team to use. You can rent dance studios. Podcast studios will also be available to members and potential members, and podcast equipment as well to do your recordings, or just be a member and co-work in a creative community, because as you know, we're all about collaboration over communication in the competition, in this creative space, because we know that that really provides a lot of value to small businesses when they can collaborate and come together and work with like-minded individuals in the space. So for the next week, we're coming to a close. You'll be able to learn about setting up your online presence, digital marketing, e-commerce, and online sales, bookkeeping for creatives, and tech tools for the organized creative. And we have a great team of presenters. You guys would have met them before. If it is your first time joining us today, then you'll be able to get access to previous recordings. Just give me a private message and give me an email address, and I'll have them to you for the various workshops that you are registered for. But if you have been with us, then you can really attest to the expertise that our presenters have been presenting you with. And of course, we have to give a special thanks to our first 50 sponsors, Sagicor Bank. And we have been working with them since 2019, and this bank is really committed to the success of creative entrepreneurs. They're here to provide you with all the tools and banking services that creatives need to succeed. So be sure, as I said, to use and take as much advantage as possible of that Ask Sagicor segment that we will have, where you'll be able to speak directly and have a Q&A session with the business banco. So thank you so much for signing up and becoming a part of the Creative Hub community. We hope that you gain lots of practical knowledge today from our expert presenter, Monique, and that you'll be able to develop a strategy and pivot your business. So now I'm going to hand over to Monique. Thank you guys for being patient with me, and I hope you guys have a very productive workshop today. Hi, Monique.
Hi guys, how are you doing? I'm so excited. It is week 3. Woo! For everybody who's been, yes, Sandy, everybody who's been here from week 1, or even if you're just joining us for the first time, oh my gosh, guys, I'm so hi, everybody who's coming through in the chat. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us again. I'm looking forward to a wonderful session, value-packed, getting a bunch of information and stuff that we can use to push our creative businesses into the know of the digital space. I dropped a message in the chat a little earlier. I'm going to copy and paste it again now. For those of you who have been, who are just joining us and don't have the resources or know what we're gonna do today, we're gonna be working on a document that was shared previously. I shared the exact link where you can access this document. If you haven't downloaded it as yet, please go ahead and do that now. We're going to be working from a document that's within that link, and I've given you the exact name and told you which folder you can find it at. So make sure that you get that up. Before I jump in and dive into today's session, and today's going to be a very interactive session, we're going to be pulling, since most of you would have had a whole week to revisit and to question, to mull over the various things that would have been brought up. Who is your target audience? How am I really positioning or poising my business within the ecosystem of which you operate or that you exist? We're going to be looking at that in more detail today. So I'm really hoping that you guys had a chance to go through the document that you attempted, and that we can share some real value today in actioning, getting you beyond where you were when you started. So pull that up if you have that available. And those who have not attempted it, go to the resource center and download the document. So while you're doing that, I just wanted to have a quick conversation about the versus battle that happened on Saturday. As creative businesses, as creative entrepreneurs, as Jamaican creatives, I know a lot of us must have been really excited and would have seen the potential, seen the possibility, in spite of, and maybe because of COVID-19, where hundreds of thousands of people, and honestly, I think the total number goes into the millions when you add up all of the various platforms between YouTube, Instagram, live, the replay with the after party, and all of those people who didn't get to watch it live but tuned in afterwards. I've seen YouTube videos, not even the official versus page, but other persons who have put it up have had hundreds of thousands of people watching the clash between Beanie Man and Bounty Killer. Yes, Tanya, that's it. And so as creative entrepreneurs, we have to remain nimble, we have to remain agile about how we show up and represent. COVID has presented a unique opportunity for us to represent and to really stand out, to show out. And for persons within the music industry who rely on tours and rely for a huge part, a huge chunk of their income and their revenue, a whole new world has opened up, and we're really just looking at some of the platforms that we have available to us that have been around for years, and saying, okay, yeah, we don't have any other option, so we have to use YouTube and we have to use Instagram. So how do we leverage the various tools that we have available to us? No, it's not just in a time of a pandemic that something like this can happen. You can leverage the various tools, but it really does take a little bit of courage and a little bit of foresight, stepping stepping into the digital space, and putting yourself in front of the world, so that we can shine and we can do what only Jamaicans do. Because I don't know if any of you guys tried to tune in or saw any of the tweets of the battle that was supposed to happen yesterday, and it flopped. And Jamaican on turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up. So it really just shows our value. And the truth is, I mean, I'm glad that this happened in this way, but another part of me says, is this what we needed to show even our local entertainment providers what was possible all along? I mean, TVJ tried to do something with their online, virtual DJ battle, but yes, Kemba, it was hard, right? Their virtual DJ battle on TV, but here are free platforms available to us for us to use as creatively as we want. So for those of us, and all of us are in creative businesses, we have to look at and explore creatively these platforms that have been made available to us, and see how we can transfer some of our creative energy that we use in producing our goods or service or products, all of the stuff that we already do, but also translate this now into the digital space. So that was my preamble. That was also your opportunity to go to the website that I would have shared in the chat, just dropped it again, to download the bootcamp platform worksheet fillable documents. That's what it's called. That's the one that we're going to be working with, right? And there's a lot of stuff happening in the chat. So if you guys don't have that open, I'd encourage you guys to follow the conversation that's happening in the chat as well. Kadia is with us. Kadia is my partner. We work together, and she'll be moderating in the chat while I'm presenting, to bring forth some of your questions and to see who would have raised hands and all of those stuff. And Noel will be admitting you as well. Okay, so let's jump right into it. I'd love a couple volunteers, and we'll go one by one. More than likely somebody who would have been here last week and who would have gone home and attempted the document. So we've already discussed, or we've already gone over the various platforms, given you an idea of the various platforms and shared some information. And I think I'm gonna go in that direction a little bit before we look at your specific examples, right? And Katia asked a question in the chat. Think about why versus the primary platform and the main platform that the versus battle happened on was Instagram. Now, while it would have been streamed or rebroadcast on other platforms, the primary platform was Instagram, right? And I'd love if someone would raise their hand, and we'll have a little power, a little conversation around why the selection of Instagram. We've already had a discussion around the various platforms and given some idea around Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and all of these different platforms. Why the selection or the choice of Instagram and Instagram Live? Yes, my dog wants to be heard as well. Instagram Live. Anybody has their hand up?
Yes, so we have a raised hand from Sandy.
Hi, Sandy.
Bush and Water. So I'll give Sandy the floor first.
Okay. Hi, Sandy. Why do you think that they chose Instagram?
Because it's instant communication, feedback, responsiveness about what is happening in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it because of the fact that it has a very, very wide reach. In our case, it is what, 500,000, what 500 million people, 500 million. But
500,000 in Jamaica, over 500,000.
500,000 then, I was right at first.
Yes.
Yes, I raised my hand because I thought it was time for the platform, but
okay.
I'd like to come back for that.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
All right, no problem. All right, I'm gonna ask Kadia to just chime in. What are persons saying in the chat about why the choice of Instagram?
Hi, good morning, everyone. So my inner nerd just jumped out, but I thought this was a good point to bring up. Mm-hmm. Somebody says, Kemoy says, that is where their target audience is.
Ooh.
And Gian Thomas says the celebrities already have established presences on Instagram, so it would be easier to direct traffic to another IG page than to another social media platform. The millennial demographic. Okay, while all of these answers are correct,
right.
The biggest one is the one that the closest one is really Gian, who says celebrities already have established presence on Instagram. Remember, YouTube is a search engine. It is not a social media platform. While it has features similar to a social media platform, it really is not. So you will find that people go on YouTube for particular reasons. They go on there to watch particular videos for some purpose, but they're on Instagram to communicate, to socialize. You find that, and to chat and to chill. Exactly. When you're relaxing and you're on your couch or whatever, chilling, you're on Instagram more than you're really on YouTube. You may be playing YouTube in the background, but you're really on Instagram, browsing, looking through what's going on. So it would have made more sense for them to put it on a platform where they know that they're going to get, where more people already are in terms of a social space. Because what was the purpose of Versus? It's a socializing event. That's what it was supposed to do. It's entertainment, but it was entertainment meant for a particular reason. And the reason was to unify, everybody come together, have a good time, chill, enjoy some music. It's an in-home concert because as a response to what has been happening and the stress that it's causing on people. So they rightly calculated that a proper social media platform would have been the better place for it. But YouTube would have been an easier place for it, but the social media platform would have been a better place for it. And what did you see happen? Instagram, who is brilliant at looking at opportunities, they didn't take it up at first. They really didn't take it seriously at first until the Babyface concert with a whopping 750,000 people on the live happened. And then Instagram made a statement the next day to say, oops, sorry guys, because there were so many technical issues happening on their end because the server literally crashed. Couldn't manage it. So what has Instagram done? Instagram has actually reconfigured its setup to make sure that these lives happen as seamlessly as possible. Now, this is Instagram pivoting, right? Making sure that the lives happen as seamlessly as possible. And not only that, extending the hours that you could have actually done the live for, because the Jill Scott and Erykah Badu live went for 3 hours straight. They didn't have to stop because you only get an hour, right? They didn't stop and come back. They literally allowed it to go on for 3 hours straight. The only reason why the Beanie Man and the Bounty Killer concert had to stop was because of how the setup was, and it was happening on the Versus Instagram live platform. But Instagram has realized that, hold on a minute, this is another revenue generating thing. So don't be surprised if
they've already announced it.
There you go. They're going to be rolling out more features like this so the masses, me and you, can actually now do this as a part of our branding or entertainment or whatever. It may be paid, it may be a paid thing, or it may not be available.
No, they've already announced it. So the announcement went to the tune of, you will soon be able to have some sort of a paywall. You'll soon be able to charge for people to access certain lives.
Right. So Tanya is saying that it's also worthwhile to note that a part of that audience community building took place across multiple platforms. So people watched on Instagram and commented on Twitter. It is worthwhile to note, but I mentioned this for a particular reason. And the reason was not necessarily other social media platforms, but why they went social media as opposed to YouTube, which is a dedicated video platform with robust streaming capabilities that could have more than handled the volume, could have more than handled the traffic. Why didn't they go with a platform that was already directed towards something like this? And it wasn't because they had any partnership agreement with Instagram. That was not the case. In fact, they still don't. Well, not in the initial stages. Now they Versus announced that they're actually in talks with Instagram, or better yet Facebook, because Facebook owns Instagram, to see what can happen on that end. So yes, people were live tweeting. Live tweeting has always been a thing. It didn't start with Versus. People used to always live tweet. It became even more popular during the Game of Thrones series, where people started live tweeting episodes of Game.
For us, The Voice, when Tessa
and The Voice, exactly. So it kind of really bust locally anyway during the Game of Thrones series. So live tweeting was always something people did. So it wasn't because of Versus. So that was always a thing. But why didn't they couldn't have done it on Twitter, because Twitter don't really allow that kind of setup. They could have done it on Facebook. They didn't. That's also something else that we need to pay attention to. Why didn't they do it on Facebook? Facebook wouldn't have drawn that kind of crowd, and it's the type of audience too. Somebody talk about target audience, they were right in that sense where they knew that they could get a bigger, more versatile audience, or more audience variation on Instagram. Because if you think it was only YouTube, young people, it was not. Michelle Obama was on one of these lives. I think she was on the Babyface live. No, the Erica Badu live. She was on the live. So you have a wider cross section of people on an Instagram platform than you actually do on a Facebook platform. And then YouTube would have been an extra step for people to do, to log on to YouTube to get that done. And YouTube has not yet worked out. The YouTube chat section is not as smooth as an Instagram, the Instagram live chat during the live. So there are several reasons why they did this. And as I said, it was my inner nerd that jumped up, but I think it was a good point to make. Why? Because Versus actually did their research on the best platform to have launched this thing on, and they calculated right. No, it was not a money-making thing, but I'm sure it is going to turn into a money-making thing, because I don't know if you guys would have seen when doing the Erica Badu live one. Erica Badu actually and Ingrid would have talked about this. I was on the workshop with Ingrid when she actually talked about how Erica Badu, she had a series of concerts, live concerts planned, and then Rona hit. And what did she do within literally a week? She had her own concert platform set up online, and people paid $1. She had her dollar concerts, and you literally paid $1 and you could join the actual concerts. So you're going to see more on digital concert platforms being set up. Some of them are going to be subscription based, some of them are going to be free, and then you're going to see that the social media platforms are now going to be competing with those other platforms, and it's going to be all of this add up to more features for us to use, more platform for us, and more ways for us to brand ourselves and to earn money. So in effect, this is a massive thing, not just for the culture, the Jamaican culture, the hip hop culture, whatever, but a massive thing for commerce, for digital commerce, a massive thing for marketing, and a massive thing for small businesses and personal brands, particularly personal brands. This is a huge win for personal brands. So that's as I said, my inner nerd went off, and I just wanted to bring that out to you guys.
On the topic of money making, I think it kind of depends on how you kind of look at it, because it was a sponsored event. It was sponsored by Ciroc. Beanie Man and Bounty Killer got paid.
They got paid for I think, right, because this one was the first Versus TV battle. It actually happened on the Versus platform. This is their first Versus battle that happened on their platform. So I think because that was the case, then they could have gone the sponsorship route, because it was their platform, and then Diddy came in and sponsored the thing. This was the first time I ever saw product placement in a Versus battle, and this is just to show you how this thing is trending, the direction it is trending towards. So yeah, you're correct in that regard.
And I think with the lesson, and the reason why I even brought this up is we're still in the early stages of this evolution. Maybe we missed the social media boat, maybe we missed the initial Facebook boat, maybe we missed the Instagram boat, maybe we missed the YouTube boat, maybe we missed the IGTV boat, right? But this is a boat you can catch. And I know some of you guys are spoken word artists, are musician artists, do various things, and all of you are creative people. And so I wanted to introduce it into your psyche, have it as something that is not just, okay, wow, that did bad and that did sell off, nice, and while it was great, but no, for us to look within and look towards our businesses and try and see, all right, how can I leverage or use this approach, or rethink what what I thought at first, how I was looking at something.
Yes, definitely. And creating your own opportunities. It's not just about taking advantage of opportunities, but positioning yourself to create opportunities. I hope
Absolutely.
you guys realize that Verse, Timberland, and Swiss Beats started this. It was their brainchild. It literally
Yeah.
just came up. And I think this actually started with DJ Nice. DJ Nice actually did the first Instagram DJ concert thing, and he actually kicks that. He probably should have get some eater food for this, because this was really his thing, and they saw it and they go, over 400,000 people had actually tuned into the first DJ Nice thing, including a ton load of celebrities. And I
Right.
think that is partially why they did it on Instagram too, because they realized the success of his thing. Then
DJ
this
Nice
jumped out.
and
DJ Nice, yeah, DJ Nice, the guy with the hat, the DJ with the
we
hats.
never know about that one. I've heard
Right.
about quarantine radio.
Right. So it
Tour
actually
lanes.
started, he was the first one in the quarantine era to really start. It wasn't a battle, he was just spinning. It was like just literally a club. It was a club thing he was doing on his Instagram platform, and it kind of blew up, and then Versus happened. So what they did, they pivoted and they positioned themselves to take opportunities of something that they saw the potential of it, and they jump on it. Guys, you can create your own opportunities in the digital space. You can create your own job titles. You can create your own careers in the digital space. Believe me, the possibilities are endless. But before you start the session earnestly, somebody said, Natalie said the male strippers are using it to earn. So I've heard. So what Natalie is actually talking about is a thing called demon time on Instagram. Now, if any of you guys would have heard the Savage remix with Beyonce and Megan Thee Stallion, and if I'm talking a foreign language, I'm sorry. So there's a song between a rapper called Megan Thee Stallion, and everybody know Queen, the queen of the world, Beyonce, all hail the queen. They did a remix together, and in the song, Beyonce says, "On that demon time, she may start an OnlyFans." Those are words that she added in the song. Now, what was she talking about? Demon time. And Instagram completely denies that this happens, but they can deny all them one. This is demon time is Instagram after dark. Okay, Instagram after dark, there are communities of people who have their Instagram pages. They're usually private pages that you have to get access to, and they do all sorts of excitements on there. Right? So
Quarantine radio.
and X-rated kind of things that you don't. So somebody has shown it clear, really clear, pull it up. So that's what she was talking about. And OnlyFans is another digital platform that allows you to, and it's for creatives. Actually, that's how it started out. It was for creatives to go on and do their creative things, and fans can come on and they will pay a little money to get access to it. But then what happened with OnlyFans? OnlyFans got explicit real quick. So people started
Really quick.
tripping and doing all sort of stuff. They didn't stop it because the money came rolling in, right? And then because they shut down Tumblr, everybody from the Tumblr moved over to OnlyFans, right?
Yep.
And they're making a ton of money.
Money.
And now that Beyonce load up the thing in the song, they've come out with a statement to say, "Oh no, that's not what our platform is about." But they were naming a good food off of it for a while.
Still
But
are.
that's what Natalie was talking about. So it's called Demon Time, and it's kind of the more explicit version of Instagram that regular people like us don't have access to unless we're on the inside, you know? So yeah, see Claire, pull it up there. So yeah. Charlene says OnlyFans became overrun by out of work porn stars and music artists can knock it. No, I'm not knocking it. I mean, if that's your thing, that's your thing. I'm very liberal in my views on certain things. So if that is how they make money, then that's how they make money. They're safe, they're behind a screen, and these are grown people, them can make their own decisions and that. But what I had an issue with was them coming out and behaving as if, oh, we didn't know this happened.
Like,
wholesome platform. Yeah, that's bull. They know what they were doing, but I'm just giving you the context of what Natalie was saying. But it looked like these people are well in the know, though, Monique. We're not telling them nothing new.
okay. All right. Yes. So as I was saying, guys, check out the chat. The chat is live. Stuff are happening and you can learn, right?
Exactly. All
So
right.
the whole concept or principle around this preamble and the startup for the conversation is to show you that beyond just the platform and beyond just the use of the platform or the suggested use is where Jamaicans will make fashion with everything. The comment that I was making with the versus battle though was the fact that there's nothing stopping us from doing something similar. There's nothing stopping us from looking at and saying we turn up versus battle because of our sound clash culture. Everybody else, when they went on, it was somebody sitting down in a studio and they press play and they rock and they say, do you remember this song? And people jam in and in the comments and yeah. Jamaica, Beanie and Multi come together in front of the camera and they are proper clashing, sound clash, right? And providing with a concert, a virtual experience that blew people's minds, right? And so we can create those experiences ourselves. And I'd really encourage us to kind of start looking creatively at the various opportunities that these platforms open up to us. And sometimes it's going to take a risk and everybody's not doing it, but that's when you've actually stumbled onto something good, right? Yeah, DJing and all of those stuff, right? Okay. So I'm going to open up our worksheet for today, and I'm gonna ask for Noel to assist with who we admit. We're gonna jump right into it. So who is our first person who is going to join us? We're going to deal with our platform strategy mix, looking at audience, competition, and a touch on content. So looking at things like audience mapping and creating personas, persona narrative, and your competitive scouting. So I'd ask for the person, you can just raise your hand. Raise your hand, you'll be admitted. I'm also gonna ask that you be in a position to share your screen with the information that you may have filled out. If you didn't fill out, at least have that information on hand so I can share my screen so the others can follow. All right, so and as we go through with the example with someone, if you haven't done it yet, I'm going to ask for you to attempt because I'll be taking different persons. All right. Who do we have waiting, Noel?
Andy had raised her hand, so.
Okay. All right. Great. All right. Hi, Sandy.
Hi, Monique. I'm trying to share my screen now. It says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay.
You should have access.
Noel is going to free it up for you.
All right, Monique.
Yes.
To do this with another presenter, I'm just going to transfer hosting capabilities to you.
Sure.
Ask you to share your screen and then transfer it back to me so that I can give Sandy access.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
Just a quick second. Thank you.
All right.
So I'm making you host.
Okay. So how do I transfer it back to you now?
Try and share your screen first. And then when you're transferring it back to me, you just have to click on the name Creative Hub and click Make Host.
All right. So sharing my screen and then admit. Okay. And then I need to click on you and make host.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Sandy, Monique, if you stop sharing now, Sandy should be able to see her screen.
Okay. So that is if I can find it. Oh, here it is.
Okay, Deandra, just make sure that you don't have any spaces in your email address, please, before or after your email. That's been the main issue where persons have issues, all right?
Okay. So you tell me what you want me to tell you.
Okay, so we're starting from the top.
Mm-hmm.
We're starting out by breaking out our audience profile. So Sandy, please do a quick recap for the purposes of the group to say just a little bit about what it is that you do, and then we'll go into who your audience is.
Okay, so I am a trainer, group process facilitator, and executive coach. Been working for quite a bit of years with public-private sector organizations, and the objective is really helping people to grow. I use creative means through experiential learning, through a lot of role-playing and drama to facilitate the learning. I work with CEOs and HR managers. That's the primary source of the business that I get. So they hire me to work with both themselves and their staff at every level, from senior to ancillary and all in between. Okay. So I find that the majority of clients that I have are female.
Okay.
I have a few male, and so I wasn't sure if I were to do both male and female.
So I think the question is, as we outline here, these are the persons who you are saying I am targeting. This is who I want.
These are my clients. These are the people who are done makers who will contract with me and eventually pay me.
So yes, but why I said in terms of what you want, maybe what you're getting right now in terms of your audience may be a whole bunch of people, but in refining, you're saying this is who I want to work with. Right? So out of all of the people who may contact you, who may call you or request for information, you are now deliberately saying, even though somebody may stumble on my page, I'm going to use a random example. I bake things and I make tasty treats. Though Jessica, so I'm going to use a live example. Jessica in the kitchen makes vegan and often gluten-free recipes and stuff. I am not vegan. I am not gluten-free. I may find a video and I will watch it and I will like it and I'll enjoy it and I'll make it, but I'm not her target demographic per se. But I may consume her stuff. She defines her target demographic. Right. Okay. So female.
Primarily female, average age 40 to 60. Sometimes a little younger, a little older, so this is about average. They have tertiary education, many of them with master's degrees, MBAs. Mostly HR professionals, senior executives, CEOs. I found it hard to figure out range, but assume like about between $80,000 and $100,000 US per annum. Across Jamaica, the region, and well, if I'm wanting to add to expand, it would include the US and the UK. But for right now, it's Jamaica and the region. The pain points, let's move this over here again. Challenges with accountability, mindset, and leadership. Having their training budgets cut. So they have to do the training, but with less money.
I have one question for you, Sandy. Who hires you, the business, or are you a coach for me, the individual?
The business hires me.
Okay.
Let me kind of cut here a little bit.
Yeah.
Up to March 15th or March 10th, it was the business. At that point, all the work that I had in the pipeline was postponed or canceled because of the nature of the work, which is face-to-face.
Right.
And so I've now had to look at what do I have that can generate income. And one of the skills that I have is coaching.
Right.
This is where I'm kind of stuck, because when life, well, life will not go back to
Right.
the same. But so far I've had like most of my income, 80–90% of my income comes from the corporate or public sector
Right.
realm. And so if I'm opening up to you as an individual who might find that you want to look at, okay, what do I do with my career? What do I need to do around losing weight? What do I need to do, you know, whatever it is with regards to my growth in my life? That's another stream then
Of income that
so
you're
struggled
diversifying.
I struggled with this because I wasn't sure, do I cater to where most of my money comes from, or do I do it primarily for persons like yourself who might want one-on-one
Right.
engagement? So I really sort of wasn't sure.
Okay. Around that consideration in getting your regular bread and butter, though some are gonna fall off because they've had budget cuts and they have shocks coming in their business and they don't know particularly where the next dollar is coming from, but it's still providing opportunities because now, maybe more than ever, corporate entities need some of that guidance around, you know, their leadership, etc. We're gonna talk. We've already established this, but we're gonna talk off air about how Katie and I can actually help you around. You say where you have that core business, still facilitating some of those the delivery to the corporate entity virtually. So we're gonna, I already see a situation where we can help you set that up and have that going so you still maintain that stream of income despite COVID. And the truth is, even past all of the frenzy of COVID, and when it dies down a little bit, it will still provide you with an opportunity for you to not have to physically go to 10 different buildings and whatever. You fix up your little home office studio space and you share from there. Yes, right there, right there, right
So
there,
a
right?
big question I had, which really made me feel stuck
Yes.
in this process, going through the document.
Yeah.
Um, when you asked me about questions and I did the ticks, these are assumptions on my part because I've had, outside of email, I've had absolutely no contact with anybody via any of these means.
Right.
You know, and so I just assume that they're on Facebook and assume that they're on Instagram, etc., etc. I don't know how long they're online. I don't know when they're most. I have no clue of any of these things. What do they do? Again, I just guesstimated it.
Right. Right.
Type of content, I have no clue. I guesstimated it.
Right.
It's down to the persona.
Right.
Then I have a sense of who my clients are. And so I started to create who they are and what they do. Didn't quite complete. Again, this is
Okay.
just
I feel like we're gonna confuse persons who are watching on. All right.
yes,
So
yes.
let's go back up a little bit. Let's go back up. I think for you, I think that you have some areas. Let's pause by the channels where we ask you about the different platforms that they're on.
What do they do online?
Go up a little more. Stop. All right. Where are they online? So part of it, yes, is guesstimating. That may be the original or where you start. The next step is literally, if you had an existing presence on the various platforms, is to see where are people, one, engaging or interacting with you more. even if you don't have that presence online, you have an idea of who your competitors are, or persons, other people who operate within a similar space, other people who are coaches, who deliver some similar products or services, and you can start them out. So you can see, or you can look on YouTube and see who is there. You can look at Nadine Barosiaga, who is doing something, who a different spin, but doing something. There's another, is it Leadercast? There's another group of people who do some work with Scotiabank, or they got their start through, I think, the Scotiabank Vision Achievers setup.
There's Action Coach with Marcia Woon Choi.
Right, right. Say the name again.
Marcia Woon Choi.
No, not her. Action Coach, right? Action Coach, and see some of the various platforms. Yes, you know, that they use online, and see how their community is responding. They use a lot of email, and I would love to know and find out as well from you, even though you say that you use email, what sort of system do you have? Is it that you are sending out an email, okay, hey, I have this one time, or it's haphazard, or is there a structure? Do you have an email management system that you use to help automate some of your emails?
You should ask questions to embarrass me, you know.
Right? Because in using email, it's more than just, okay, I send out an email, or I remember about National Bakery, Continental Baking, asked me a question, and so I send them a package, or I send them a whatever it is. I have this list of persons who I have engaged or interacted with. I met you at a trade show, I met you through a contact, I met you through wherever, and I'm now sharing with you that this information. I'm engaging with you at different points in time and providing you with information. Maybe I even share some tips or recommendations, or I share some things around COVID, some or people working from home, or other valuable top of mind tips or information that now make you say, okay, all right, I'm engaging with you. And so that part now is called a bit of content marketing, where I'm using what I can share, I'm using value, and I'm providing you with this value free, via email, via video on YouTube, via something else. And that now attracts you to work with me, or to choose me, right? So gonna look at all of that, because email is more than just sending an email or responding to.
I get that, and so I have to put the past in the past where it belongs.
Right.
Create a clean slate for the present, and create what it is that I want for the future. Because man, if the past continues to exist, that is my default future, and I'm not happy with that.
Right, right. And the truth is, it's gonna change. It has already changed, but it's gonna change permanently. So yes, there will still be that need for the in-person situation, but many entities, plus a lot of these companies, struggle with the fact that my head office is in Montego Bay, I have an office in New Kingston, I have some people in Ocho Rios, and in order to train all of them, somebody would have had to rent Spanish Court or rent a hotel space, and so that cost just drive up on your lunch and this and that. Whereas with the online version, at least I don't have to spend a hotel money for somebody who came from Ocho Rios overnight, or a Knoxford money, or some of those other considerations that would have come up in terms of getting all of the 10 people in one location. We also have entities, mostly the smaller and younger organizations like Quick Plate, or like Blue Dot, Quick Plate is one of the delivery places who carry your lunch. You order lunch and you ask Quick Plate to deliver it, and you pay them a money and you get your food, right? The courier service. And Blue Dot is a data insights company. So yeah, they're taking market research and they're doing it, a lot of their processes online, right? But those persons, their CEOs, have both come out and said, hey, Quick Plate said I rented 2 offices. No, I gave up one. I still will have an office, but I gave up one. Edufocal, I used to have 2 or 3 offices. I've given up one of them because I don't need to pay so much in rent. My people can work from home. If they need a location, there's a one office, they can come in, they can sit in, but most of their work is going to be done from home.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a rise and an increase of persons saying, hey, people can work from home. All right. So now to fix up this in terms of where they are online, and for the persons who are looking at their own thing and trying to determine, if you are not online yet, you can look at your competitor to determine and to see what is working. Where are they representing? Who are they getting? Now, LinkedIn is a must-have. LinkedIn is a must-have for you based on the demographic that you're dealing with and the type of work it is that you do. You've chosen 5 platforms. I think another, in terms of your selection, your ultimate selection of where you're going to navigate or where you're going to use first is going to be determined by, okay, how much resources and how much time am I gonna put into this? And so I can monopolize and I can really devour and exist on one. Or I can really dominate and really work out 2 platforms. And so I'm gonna use and push and leverage those 2 platforms or those 3 platforms that I've selected. In terms of your group that you've selected, would I say that there is a 40, you said 40 to 60?
Mm-hmm. Or yeah, in and out of that.
40 to 60 age group, and then no, it's within that income bracket. So we would have mentioned that Marcia Forbes previously, she would be a prime candidate, and yes, she stands out and comes out on Twitter. But the 20-year age group is a little wide, Sandy, right? Because when you look at a 40-year-old within their career prospects and what it is that they are looking to maneuver and leverage within their organization, it's not going to be the same as a 60-year-old. The 40-year-old will look and say they have 20 more years in the organization, and they can make access. They can make some sort of progress. They have a thing that they want to accomplish over the next 20 years. Whereas the 60-year-old is saying, maybe it's because 65 for retirement for females, right? So they're saying 5 more years, or maybe they're saying early retirement. They're winding down. They've done what they've done, and most of the time, or in many cases, you find that groups, as you get older, are more stuck in their ways of thinking and navigating, and many may not reach out for this newer information to angle and position. Them are going soon, and their minds are probably geared towards what their retirement plan is, what their plan after this entity, this corporate entity that they've worked for 35, 40 years, 20 years and given blood, sweat and tears. And so their focus kind of shift. I've found or seen shift. Yes, yep, same way, Patricia. Yeah, their focus kind of shift now into what am I doing for myself? I've dedicated 40 years to this organization, and yes, them earn good money, and yes, the house buy and the other house buy, and I can fly out when I want to fly out. But you know, there is more to life than this. So we have to. We're now trying to think into putting ourselves in the shoes of this person. So with all of that being said, the 40 to 60 age group or category, how can we narrow that down a little bit more? Who do we really see taking advantage or benefiting from the insights that you would be bringing into the organization or their professional life?
You see, it varies. I mean, the 40-year-old, I'm looking now at the decision maker. These are the persons who are perhaps on the management team.
Right.
And they're the ones who would have the autonomy to say, well, okay, we're going to spend $2 million for the next month, and we're going to do this training. The 60-year-old could be thinking about personal coaching. You know, I'm going to retire, but I'm not done yet. What do I do with my life? Where do I go? And so on. So it's, again, two different markets. So but I'm getting what you're saying. And I could narrow it then down to, it would be more in the 40-year-old age group, because then you have a lot of young, bright professionals who are in very senior management positions in organizations now.
And I think that you just identified it. You are targeting two different groups. It's two, it's not one. And so you can't lump them, and you're developing two different service deliveries. Okay. One is going to be around a more personal brand of coaching. And I am now investing in you, and maybe you spend a 2,000 US or you spend a 1,500 or whatever price tag to say, this is my personal investment into myself and into my future, me, selfish, right? Whereas there is no the representative or the organization and the person behind that organization and that decision who is going to bring you into that HR role and capacity.
So a question, does one have to complete this document for every target market that you want to meet, to work with?
So you can do it that way because there are certain areas like this here. Where are they online? It would be best that you have, you know, the two separate, so you could see some of the areas are gonna overlap. For the areas where you have fillable, you could do a semicolon or a dash or something to separate the two groups. But if it makes it easier, for most persons, I would just say you have two different documents. Some of the stuff you can copy and you can paste, but some of the things are gonna be different, and how you approach them is gonna be different, and what you say to them is gonna be different. How you say it to them gonna be different.
Understood.
Yes.
Yes, understood. I think the minutiae of this we're gonna have to work out, and I'm happy with the conversation we've had, and I really would like to give, to bow out now and let somebody else get some time to work with this, and so we can look at it after.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, man, no problem, Sandy. Cool. Okay, Noel, Okay, great. Kadiel, what's happening in the chat, please?
Hi again, guys. So I'm just having some conversations in the chat based on what is going on, what was going on between you and
Sandy.
Sandy. So
Mm-hmm.
Courtney is the owner of a local jewelry company called 44 Miles. Full disclosure, I absolutely love Courtney's stuff. And I stalk her on Instagram, but so I'm glad she's on here. So
Okay.
Courtney says, hi, I'm a jewelry maker and I'm having trouble narrowing down my target audience in some aspects. So she's saying, is narrowing down the age range so important if there are other ways that I can narrow down my target audience? My current customer, so that's the first part of the question. So the answer to that is, it doesn't matter what you do, what industry you're in, it's the same process. And yes, you do need to be able to pinpoint your target audience. I remember we had said, guys, that if it is that you offer different types of services or different type of products, you can have a different target audience for the different services and the different kind of products. But if you are if you want to do one thing, you definitely need to be able to identify that one group that is going to be the persons who are probably already looking for what you, not probably, they're already looking for what it is that you're offering. They're already looking for it. Sometimes they don't know that they're looking for it. Sometimes they have to be introduced to it for them to go, oh, come to think of it. So sometimes that have to happen. So these people would come in as kind of qualified leads already because they're already interested. And once they see what this thing is, they'll become interested a little bit quicker. As I said, if you have to convince people, they're probably not your target audience. So you need to narrow down the audience no matter what industry, what you sell, what you produce, whatever, right? So that's yes, you still have to narrow down. The second part, she said my current customer base, and she had asked if she can find other ways of narrowing down. That's perhaps the number one way to narrow down your target audience, because remember, you're talking about generations of people here with different jobs, different kinds of
Interest.
incomes, different kind of savings, different kind of stress, different kind of responsibilities. So you definitely need to narrow that down. And the age is not just their age, but it also is a signifier for a lot of other things, like everything that we just said a while ago. So she said, my current customer base ranges from around late teens to people in their 60s. Now that is
Too wide.
3 generations right there. So alone, that's way too massive, right?
Yeah.
And I have repeat customers coming from a variety of age groups, so of ages. So I'm wondering if I could forego narrowing the age range too much and just narrow
Mm-hmm.
down my audience based on
Mm-hmm.
interest and personality traits. Interest and personality traits is secondary to age, and for the reasons that we just said. 16 to 60, sorry, late teens, so you're talking about 18, 19 to 60, that's 3 generations of people.
Could have
These
been
are
four.
people who are, some are near retirement, some are not even in the workforce yet or just starting in the workforce, probably just finished high school, going into college. Some are probably just starting careers or mid-career at some kind of executive level or something. It's way too broad a range for you to be satisfied with that. Personality traits is going to differ because my personality may differ from somebody's personality, but depending on what the services is, we may arrive at a consensus right there. We just may be interested in the same thing even though we have different personality. So that's not necessarily the best in identifier. Interest is the same. I may like cooking shows, you may like dog shows, but we all like jewelry. So that's also not the best signifier. But these are things that you can use as well as part of get just different information that you're gathering and putting together to form the complete picture. But age is a huge one, right? So at the end, she said, or is it that I can have multiple target audience? Yes, 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 you can. For different products or ad campaigns, yes. And if you notice that when you're doing an ad campaign for Instagram or social media, they've kind of forced you to narrow down. The more narrow you can get your target audiences, the better ad spend you will get, because they know you're micro targeting. So now you're gonna reach people that you need to reach for less money, and that's always a good thing, right? Because I make a variety of pieces and different styles draw different calls. But so she already answered her own question. At the end, she answered her own questions. Different styles draw a different crowd. So which means that when you, and this is what, I don't understand if it's the same process for you guys, but as a creative myself, when I'm thinking about the type of content that I'm putting together, Monique, you can help me here. When you're thinking about the kind of content you put together, aren't you thinking about who this content is for? Because that's always in the back of my mind. So even how I talk, even the graphics I use, even the font I use, it is because I'm talking to a particular group of people. So it's not going to be the same. We did a presentation recently for TEF. How we presented there is completely different from how we are presenting here. Those were from manufacturers and people in production. So what we are basically talking about the same kind of thing. The language was different, the presentation slides were different, the approach was different, because it's based on the audience, and it is tedious and tiresome, and you don't want to do it a lot of times because it means creating different kinds of content and more work. And me and Money did not sleep for 2 days, but that's fine. We delivered and it was well received because we understood. We took time to look at who was going to be there, what were their backgrounds, and then we curated a particular presentation for them. You guys need to be doing the exact same thing in your content development process and in your production processes. You're making jewelry. In your head, you must have an idea of who you would love to see wearing this. Who would this I know would just look gorgeous on? Who would carry off my piece well? Because you guys know as creatives, and anybody can wear the things. And sometimes when you see it on some people and go, I wish she didn't. I really wish she didn't. Because it just don't look the same on that person as you had it in your head. And you go, this person don't do my jewelry no good, because it look worse than how it actually look. Right? So you must have an idea of who would wear this piece and bring off this piece so well. And then that could probably have to do with how the person dress. What is the person's fashion sense and style? Because that can make and break a piece as well. So you must have that idea in your head. And that is what you're going to use again as a part of your foundation. Who would it look like? And I'm talking specifically to Courtney now, because she said she was a jewelry maker. Who would my piece look good on? What is that person's fashion sense? And then that is going to play into what is their income, because if you want to have a particular fashion sense, you have to have a particular budget. You know what I mean? You have to have a particular level of income and disposable income to be able to dress a particular way and to be able to afford certain kinds of unique, because in my mind, Courtney's pieces are very unique, very high-end looking pieces. So you have some high-end kind of money to be able to buy it. Now, high-end money don't mean you have a fashion sense, but still that can get you closer to the type of people that would probably already be interested, like a Carlin Cooper. Think of a Carlin Cooper and think of what comes to mind when you think of Carlin Cooper. You think extravagant, big jewelry, big statement jewelry pieces. You think African cloth. You think the salt and pepper here and the hue. So you have an idea of what Carlin Cooper's style is kind of like. So you can say, well, maybe a Carlin Cooper kind of person would be interested. Now, who is Carlin Cooper? A very well-established lecturer at one of our biggest universities. So you already know, so she kind of make bank. She's a writer, she's an author, she's a publisher, she's a writer, she's a culture critic. She's very well established in our culture. She's a cultural I wouldn't say necessarily cultural icon yet, but she's heading to that kind of status. If you want to talk about culture, you call Carlin Cooper. right? So if you think of the kind of person she is, the kind of income bracket she is, where she lives, what she does for work, what shapes her perspective on her view on fashion and culture and something, you can then now start to narrow down your idea of the kind of person. Then if the person that would buy your thing is a Caroline Cooper like person, and this is why last week we had said, Monique, that you need to find somebody in society that you know that will represent somebody, because that makes it easier for you to kind of make certain safe assumptions, right? To make certain safe assumptions, because Monique, somebody asked if it is okay to make assumptions, and I'm going to tell you who asked about assumptions. Somebody asked if it is okay to make sorry, I'm a little bit behind. This is Dana. I just saved the worksheets to my Dropbox. No, wait. Somebody asked about assumptions. Okay. Dana again. Dana said, is it okay to make assumptions about your ideal customer, or is it a good idea to do a survey within your existing customer base? And I said both. So you can elaborate on that, Monique. But again, if you pinpoint a famous person then in your mind that this person would probably represent, not necessarily because they're famous, but because of who they are, that this person would represent your target audience, then there are certain safe assumptions that you can make because you already have this person mapped out for you. This person already exist, so you can just really take a look at them and who they are and what they do, and then make certain safe assumptions. But Monique, you can elaborate on that for Dana.
Can you repeat the question, please?
She said, is it okay to make assumptions about your ideal customer, or is it a good idea to do a survey within your existing customer base? And I said both. So what is your take on it?
I would agree, because you start out with the assumption. You start out with the assumption and defining who it is that you want, because only for people out there, and there's a lot of people who will buy things, but is that who you want to buy a thing? Let's look back at the OnlyFans example, right? OnlyFans was created for creatives, but the a lot of persons creatively, used it and have used it for explicit content. They have a decision to make, and they had a decision to make, really, because the boat kind of gone sail, right? But they could have chosen, no, that is not our intention. That's not what we want our platform to be used for. We're gonna choose wholesomeness over money. And they could have closed all of the explicit pages down, right? They could have, but they didn't. That didn't has changed in our minds or positions. Most people don't know it was created for creatives. Most people just know it as, okay, the thoughts and the booty jumping and the sexy people are on there. So I'm not going on OnlyFans with if I put on my page OnlyFans and put a handle, everybody's like, okay, Monique,
okay.
I didn't know. Get it, girl? Like, I might get a little one message from somebody who know me from before and say, you need to come back to church, yeah, right? Clear as died. Yeah. So it's a bit of both. So
right.
You determine and you say who you want, because a lot of people consume information on the internet. A lot of people want a social networking site. A lot of people want these various things. Different people, okay, we can even look at the same different people making the same thing. You make jewelry 44 miles, but Rev also makes jewelry, and Rosie's bead shop also make jewelry, and Brianna, I'm not sure if she's still here, Leanne Jewelry also make jewelry, all handmade. All
and
of
myth and something, what's her name?
Yeah, Story and Myth.
Story and Myth.
Make jewelry. All I want to make jewelry. all of the persons before the story and me would have incorporated something with brass, copper,
Copper,
uh,
silver,
silver,
wire, the little wire.
or wire, right? And probably included some gemstone. I saw that one or two of the stuff that you had included, like magnesite, on here, and you have a couple stones slash gemstones. All of you. However, how you position and who you target is gonna shape and create. Then no, looking at who is actually buying from you is you testing and saying, all right, does the picture I have in my head, does it exist in reality?
Yeah.
And what shifts do I have to make in order to, am I really appealing to who I say I want to buy from me?
Yeah.
Or am I finding that because I bear young people in my picture and 20-year-old with slim, just stepped out of high school bodies and flat bellies, are being photographed in my picture, people feel like it's for young
That's an
persons?
excellent point, Monique.
Or if I chose strategically to have a more mature woman, somebody maybe 40s, 50s representing and whatever, then that bigger bank may come.
That's an excellent point.
How how am I how is
How is
how
your
I'm
branding?
positioning my brand and my product and my service affecting who is seeing themselves reflected
In the product and stuff. And remember the video that we showed with Rihanna? Remember that Rihanna video, guys?
yes
And that's why we chose that Rihanna video, because Rihanna was very clear as to who she's targeting and why she's targeting those people. If you should look at her Savage campaign, remember, Rihanna's makeup line was one of the first makeup lines with that broad range of hues, and I'm talking about darker hues now. She went very broad, and as a new makeup line, that was something that was unheard of, and that is something that kind of propelled her success in the beauty field, because what she did, she catered to a particular demographic that was largely being ignored in the beauty space, and that was the darker skin women. So she started out with lily white shades, she did, but she went very deep with her shades. So that's
and
kind of an important point to make.
and that came from her understanding her audience,
Uh,
because with many makeup, including the big Maybelline, I don't have a perfect match within Maybelline. I have to go with something that's a little lighter than me, and then bring back my color in certain
yeah, you have to mix
spaces,
and match.
right? And with powder or something else, it may be closer within True Match, but even True Match, which is L'Oreal, has was it 30 something shades or something across the gamut. She came and she went in one go.
Like I think she launched in what was it, 80 shades? I don't remember. She went
No, only.
wide,
And
wide,
so
wide, 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 wide.
and so somebody like me can find my shade
Our exact
and
match without mixing and matching. So and another thing that you said too, Monique, that was a brilliant point to bring out was how you brand. Can they see themselves in, because so what should happen is after you do this exercise, this exercise is not a one-time thing and done. What you should now be doing is testing to see if the assumptions you made, if the research that you did, if it actually bears out in reality. You should actually be doing that. So when we talk about strategy is never a static thing. It is something that is constantly being revisited and updated, and in some instances dash and come again, because you have to match the reality on the ground. So when Monique says, if you're a makeup say you are a jury, so going back to 44 miles, you're a jury company, and you make a particular kind of jewelry, who are the persons that are modeling your jewelry? How are you advertising it? How are you doing product placement? Who are you talking to in terms of the language that you use? How do you define your product? Even the names that you give yourselves on Instagram. Someone have some very excitement name on Instagram and can't remember after them come off on the page, and then I forgo what a person name again, because you guys are using some highly complicated names will only make sense to uno. Remember that you are trying to target a particular group of people and you want them to remember you. So if you name 44 miles north, south of east, west, downtown Kingston, nobody's going to remember that. You understand what I'm saying? So sometimes it's your branding, sometimes it's how you come across. You may be missing out on a particular, your target audience because your branding may be off as well. So bear that in mind. Another question, Monique, from, I think this is either Leah or Aya.
Oh, that's exactly the one that I wanted to.
Right. She says, what about if you're doing a service? Guys, let me just say this. There is no what about nothing. You have to do the work. 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 It doesn't matter the product or the service. You have to do the work. You have to do your target audience. You have to do the work. You have to do the work.
You're killing Clear. Clear is over there dying.
Do the work. There's no what if, but, oh, and the upside down sideways between. You have to do the work, guys. All right, but it's a good question she asked, so we're gonna answer. What about if you are doing, and guys, paralysis analysis is a thing. If you keep coming with the what ifs and the what abouts, you will never complete this thing. Just do it, okay? What about if you're doing a service or a product which is a necessity as opposed to a mere desire? Couldn't that be adjusted towards having a wide target market? Bread is a necessity. People, how much different variety of bread you have? Bread is food. Food is a necessity. What does that mean? There's so much things that we could put on a necessity. A house is a necessity, but which part of the house there is an issue, right? Having a car may be a necessity for some people. It may not be a necessity for others.
But you have Porsche.
Exactly. I have Bima and Benz. Having clothes is a necessity because we have laws against walking up and down naked out a road, right? But where you buy the clothes, who you buy the clothes from, the type of clothes you buy, your style is very much a personal and objective thing. So it could be a necessity from morning till night. It could be a necessity, but it's a type of product that you create. Is a type of thing that you offer. What makes you different? What makes you special from, what makes National different from any other baking company in Jamaica or anywhere else in the world? Because we import the hell out of things, including bread. Why people still buy National? Why people still buy National? Why people still buy Excelsior crackers when there's so many different variety of crackers? These are all under food. Food is a necessity. So that's what I'm saying. No matter what industry, no matter what label, no matter what, you still have to. National is targeting a particular group of people. They are. It's just like Lasco. Lasco, who does Lasco? Is it Facey that do not Lasco? Facey does the different types of
like Nabisco.
Yeah, they do different types of things, and the different brands are targeting different people. But guess who they're mostly targeting? Moms, working moms, and these are all necessity. Them baby have to eat food, right? But they're very. In fact, all of their products have different brand managers because they're targeting different people, guys.
Mm-hmm. So yes, you may have, and then there's a distinction too between something that is a mass product versus a
niche product.
A great example came from Bush and Water yesterday, where she made a noni vinaigrette. No, right? Explosions in your head. Like, food is a necessity, but when you start going deeper and into a niche now, that's not a mass product. That's a very specific, and you have an audience who you're now talking to who are interested in exotic, different. You may even be talking about visitors too, because I'm entering Jamaica and I want these Jamaican tastes and flavors and new things and try things I've never tried before. And going back into your medicine being your food. You're also incorporating that kind of audience too and stuff, right? So yes, you still have to tap into and identify what and who exactly it is that you are positioning towards and who you're talking.
And again, you have to do the work. 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 Let's break it down. You have to do the work. You have to do the work. You don't put it to music too, because we can put a tune behind it and drum and beat.
No.
You have to do it. We can rap it. We can R&B it. We can indie it. However you want me to put it, I'll put it for you. Guys, it is hard to do. Nobody wants to do it. It is annoying. It is frustrating. You want to give up. You want to dash it where you just want to go say the things and don't bother with it. But you don't have a marketing team. You don't have a company behind you where I'm just the talent and they're going to market me. No, you're doing this by yourself, which means that you have to do the work by yourself. As much as you don't want to do it, none of us like doing it. That's the secret. And if any one of them to come and tell, oh, this is easy, I just love doing it, they lie like dog, they lie. Nobody likes doing it, but it is an absolute necessity. Guys, social media is great. Digital space is great, but it's not just for you, it's for everybody. I know you're competing with more people because more people have the same ease and the same access that you have. So on one hand, it gives you access, it gives you ease, it gives you, and then on the other hand, it tells you have to do the work because now you're competing with even more people. So it is easy to set up on everything. It is harder to establish yourself on social media. Don't take it lightly or simple. Actually, you see, if you have some money, go run some radio ads and call it a day. Go and go run some radio ads and go up on TV and go up on Smile Morning Time and live and get in a Flair magazine and call it a day. As I said, if you're going to go up on social media, you have to be prepared. And even then, you have to do some targeting, but it's easier to talk to a wider range of people because in the mix, you will find your target audience. But on social media, no, ma'am. First of all, them don't have the time for you because they are scrolling on them things and you interrupt them activities. So you better come good and you better know who you talk to or you're going to get a bunch of frustrated people go, brother, why you in on my feed? Why are you on my feed? You don't want that to be the reaction to your content, all right? So trust us when we say it's a beautiful space to be in. It makes your life easier, but the background work, and the thing is, once you have the plan and foundation, right, once the foundation in place, yes, you're gonna have to keep coming back and adding to the foundation and changing and mixing it up. But once it is already in place and it is structured, it's not easy to go back in and tinkle and fix and this and that. But it already have to be there, guys. It's not. Remember Danaja yesterday say he was already on there, his platform was growing and stuff, but he now knows that he has to have a structure and a strategy for him to get the kind of growth that he actually wants to achieve. That's probably the most amazing statement that we could get from the entire workshop, because that was kind of the point of what Kingston Creative was trying to say to you guys. All right, we have more questions. Monique, you want to take them or we're gonna go?
Yeah, man, sure.
Somebody says, very helpful. Let me get down. Began completing the worksheet, unsure if I'm on the right track. That's Charlene. Charlene, you need to tell us where you're stuck or what you're unsure about for us to help. Sorry, there's a Fenty is the benchmark for the industry. No, you see how easily she was able to do that. Okay, then she shifted the landscape 40 shades first, then 60 exactly. There you go. So Atira says, what if I target the audience from children to adults? Example, parents want to buy a t-shirt or picture as a cute character for the child. Remember, I don't know if you were here at Tira, we actually did we actually went in depth about the targeting the children. What it is there is actually a marketing tactic where they do target children, and you'll find it with the cereal companies mostly.
They're great.
They're great, right? So you find
Arms.
Right. So there's no laws being put in place in certain countries, especially in the United States, to prevent them from targeting children. If you should go on YouTube or try to upload to YouTube, YouTube will ask you, is this for content for a child or this is not for a child? Because you cannot direct market to a child because of some new regulations that they had over there. But it is still a marketing tactic that they do covertly. So you'll notice that the packages are bright and colorful and happy, and they use mostly animated characters or cartoon looking characters and so, because they're appealing to the child. Why? Because the child will pressure the parent to buy the thing.
Mommy, I want
this and I want that and I want this and I want that. No, a parent knows the child. A parent knows what they, and the thing is, you're really targeting the parent too, because especially if you're talking about children clothing or children books and whatever, the parent want the child to have an education. They want them to get into reading, but they also want them to look a particular way. They want to dress them a particular way.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to fashion and stuff, you're more targeting the parent than the child, because the child don't necessarily have a fashion sense necessarily, right? But like if it's food and stuff, then yeah, you're directly talking to the kid. Like that's why they team up with popular cartoon characters and have them in their commercials, and they do a lot of product placements on video games and stuff like that they know that children will gravitate to. So there's nothing wrong with targeting children, wink wink, honk honk, but really you're talking to parents. You're really talking to parents who want to buy it because one, their children like it, and two, cereals are just convenient. You know, dash some milk and anything, go about your business. Damn that. Okay, that will hold it for a while. And right. But when it comes to fashion and books and stuff, that is not really targeting children. That's really targeting the parents, because then they make decisions as to what they want the child to read and how they want the child to dress. So in that regard, you have you are now talking directly to an adult, not necessarily a child. You know what I mean?
But within your targeting, no, you would know how the child comes in. This is a
particular type of parent.
Of a child who is that age. You're still gonna be creating some parameters even around the child. You may say, all right, this child goes to VAS prep or Hillel or AISK, right? So you know are creating those parameters around that child and that persona, but you're still building in that parent.
Okay, so Aya says Aya is a male. I am so sorry, Aya. Aya is a male. So yeah. Tanya says, I still don't think my question was answered. I know who my target audience, I think she meant target audiences are, but I don't know what they're doing online and when. How do I find this out? So you use your insights. And Monique, all right.
So fine, yes. Also, great, we have a foundation to work from. So you have a foundation in terms of you've identified who this audience is.
But I don't think she has if she don't know what they do.
But so fine. So we have a place to work from. But if we've identified who they are, that also gives way to what they do and which spaces they occupy, especially if you put it in context to whatever it is that you are now providing and how you fit into their lives. So a part of it is taking a step back away from production and building or making this product or this service, and now looking at how does this fit in to their lives? So that's why in the worksheet, we have a section where you are now putting it into your everyday life, a day in the life of this person. So you're tracking now and you're saying, okay, if this is cran water, or Risinko, the sparkling cran water, and now you're trying to understand or trying to get into the psyche of this person who is choosing this product. You're now tracking and saying, what are their normal routines? They get up. Is it somebody who make breakfast for them? Yeah, them buy breakfast, or them what? How do they engage? How would they see or interact with something related to or even know about your brand? What are their habits? Because this person who gets up who's traveling from country, living live in country, work in Kingston, so they travel 2 hours or they leave home 5 o'clock, their experience and you're not going to catch, oh, so if they catch Smile Jamaica, they catch it at work. So it gives you further clues further once you break out this person and their regular routine. It helps answer those questions about how do I target them? You know, would say by 7 o'clock or by 8 o'clock, they're at work and work don't start until 9:30. So they're sitting down in the kitchen for a whole hour, leisurely reading the newspaper, scrolling on Instagram between 8 and 9 o'clock or 7:30 and 8:30. They are, so you're able to now carve out those areas. And then too, you can, same some of the information that I would have shared with Sandy earlier, you turn to your social media. You turn to your social media and you look and you say, all right, my average audience is 34 years old. They come from Kingston and St. Andrew, or they come from Ocho Rios or St. Thomas, or wherever they come from. You start seeing when are they normally online, because Facebook or Instagram provide you with all of that information. If you don't have access to your own insights, use your competitors' own. That's not a problem. Check out persons within your field or industry. So we would have gone through this already. Check out people within your field or industry and see, are they on YouTube? Are they on this? Are they on that? And sometimes it's in those no's where you have, but why isn't XYZ on? That provide either an opportunity for you to now jump in within that space, or you can compare and say, oh, maybe they were using it and it didn't take off here. But sometimes things happen before their time. So sometimes somebody might have tried YouTube within their field or within their sphere 5 years ago, and it never really took off. But if they really tried it today, explosion. Yeah. So everything you're taking with a grain of salt, and also the core, or what I would encourage you to do, is test it. Yeah. Try it. And the other part is ask your audience, because now if you know they are, or you have them, you have friends or people or family members who are within that age group or that fit in to at least some aspects or components. Yeah. So pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, with Susie, what do you do when XYZ or whatever? You ask them and you use that as the grounds for your assumptions then, and then you test it.
Also, 2 things to remember. Remember that when you're doing this, you're not thinking about every single one of your audience, because I think that's where some people go off as well. Because how do I know what every single person is doing? You don't. That's where the assumptions come in. That's why we had said to you guys, pick one person that represents the entire group and just do the persona based on that one person, okay? And you can keep doing that for the different groups. But the other thing to mention too about knowing what they do online and where they are online, guys, I think that's pretty easy. What I notice some of us do is that we go on and we want people to follow us, but we're not really paying attention to them. So the people who follow you, do you know who they are? Have you ever been on their page? Have you ever looked at what they're posting? Have you ever looked at what they're saying? Guys, reciprocity is a big deal in terms of building your community on social media. You have to follow back people. You have to engage with people as well. You have to get involved with them as well, because some of them are actual businesses themselves. Some of them are personal brands themselves, or some of them are regular users. So it should be easy if you're picking one person to represent that group, right? What you need to do is go and pick the person who interacts with you the most, the person who you think most aligns with you, the person that you interact with the most. Go on their page and look at what they're talking about. Look at what they're posting. Look at who they're resharing. Look at what they're saying in their stories. Look at what their feed is saying, and look at how they show up in your feed. right? That's what we're asking you to do. So you're going to look and see, okay, what is this person reposting the most? And the fact that they're showing up in your feed means it must be something similar to what you're doing. So just look at that as well, guys. You guys need to be paying way more attention to the people that communicate with you, because you need to know, are you communicating with the right people? Some of them may not be the right people. And you're spending so much energy engaging, and then I never buy a sweetie from you. Right? Then I never do, because they're not your target audience. They're not even your fans. They're not your customer base. They're just not in your wheelhouse at all. Them just probably like the picture them when you post. Okay, so that's one way of finding out what they do. And I actually think that's probably the easiest part of that worksheet, because you can literally just go on and look what everybody else is doing. And as Monique rightly said, go fast for your competitor people them, because you and them more than like a share target audience. So and this is what I need you guys to not do. Your competitor is not the person with the most followers. Let me repeat. Your competitor is not the person with the most followers. A follower count is what we call a vanity metric, as in it looks good, it don't really serve much useful purpose, because somebody could be getting a lot of saves, somebody could be getting a lot of shares, and believe me, their engagement rate is going to be higher than yours with your 50 million likes and 1 comment. Are your 50 million likes and 10 comments? There's actually a ratio that marketers use to decide your average engagement rate, and it includes your reach, it includes your impressions, and they do a multiplier thing that they do. So if a really good account is getting maximum 10% engagement, and that's 10% of your followership. So if you have 50,000 people follow you, you should, on average, if we're calculating right, you should have at least 5K people commenting and liking your post. That's a 10% engagement, and that's at the high end. That person is doing brilliantly. When people do 10%, people look at them strange, like, I buy them, PPR. Because the average is literally between 3 to 5%.
Right.
That's the average on these social media platforms. So I don't want to think, say, oh, then no, it is, believe me, the numbers are way less than you guys think it is. So don't go on somebody and look at the person with the most likes and think, yeah, this is my primary competitor. You might just have some sleepers in there that you're not paying attention to. So what you need to look at is this, and this is a pro tip that we charge people for, but doing it for free. Money, don't look at me like that. So, communicate when I do this. So, pro tip. Go on this person's page. Don't give me evil's money. Go on this person's page, and I want you to scroll through, not at the top of their page either, not the latest content. I want you to do what we call a scatter. So look at what are they posting, what's the latest thing they post, look at the numbers, as in how much likes, how much comments. And I want you to do a snapshot of the different times, the different timeline, their timeline. So what they're posting now, what they posted a couple months ago, what they posted a couple months earlier than that, and I want you to go, as if you can, all the way back to when they just started posting, because you're going to notice that, one, their content has evolved significantly, and that's if they're doing it right. Their content has evolved, their engagement rate has gone up, right? If they're doing it right, their engagement rate has gone up, and the people them who is engaging would have changed dramatically as well. So I want you to pay attention to that, but I also want you to look at who is engaging. Just pick a few people and visit them page. Visit their page.
Also start engaging with them.
And you then start engaging with them as well.
Guys, just chiming in to let you know that Charlene has had a raised hand for a couple of minutes since we're in the last 5 minutes.
Sure, no problem.
Okay.
So let me just quickly finish. So that is the kind of research we are actually asking you to do, right? And you guys, and this is why social media is so good, because then you guys can do this for free.
Yeah.
This is
You don't
something
have
that
to
you
pay a
have.
market research firm to do it.
Right. Or this is something that you back in the old days, you'd have to wait until they release their numbers for you to look at it. And then the amount of doctor them doctor that. You cannot doctor social media. Even if you're using fake followers, you will know.
Yeah.
People will know if you're using fake followers and fake comments because you can there's a way to tell as well, right?
Yeah, it's
So
easy to
Charlene has had her hands up.
yeah.
What, sorry, Monique, you're saying?
No, I was just saying it's easy to see, but yes, I was
If you're seasoned, if you know what to look for, you can spot it real easily.
I think as Jamaicans we smell a bull beeper from a mile away. Yes, Charlene. Charlene?
Yes, I'm here. Hi.
Hi, how are
Sorry,
you?
Elvis said, so with my 200 followers, I'm getting an average of 30 likes and 60 views. I'm doing well. Actually, yes, your engagement rate will be higher because then in terms of your average, you're averaging out
Exceeding the
at
10.
your 10%. But I can tell you that as it grows, it's going to drop off. So guys, the more popular you get online, is the lower your engagement rate. That's facts. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. If you go and look at some of the big people with the millions of things, their engagement rate is
Yeah.
way less than 10%. Sorry, I'm getting nerdy again. I'm sorry.
All right.
The nerd keeps jumping out. Sorry.
Charlene?
Yes.
Sorry about that. Yes, go ahead, please.
No problem. Hi, Monique. I've been doing the homework, not so much homework, kind of while you were talking work. And my issue with my business, let me first say, it's not crafty in that way. I don't think, it's nothing that I've made. It's essentially drop shipping, but it's more, I'm hoping it's more, I think it's more of a niche. What I do is I source, rarely create, mostly source high-end pet supplies. And for that reason, I've had to kind of pick and choose and grab the tidbits from what you guys say about marketing and grab it from here and grab it from there and try to make it work for what it is that I do. I bought my domain. I'm in the process of building the site, but every time I think I'm done with it, I pull it back. Maybe that's where the creative part of me lies, where it doesn't ever seem perfect. But today is about finding that audience. I have a hard time thinking or being certain that I found that audience. And as a result, I'm trying to ensure that I'm going to be seeking buyers from the right place. That makes any sense. So I went through and I did the audience mapping portion of the sheet. And I guess I just want some feedback to see if I'm on the right track before I lose my mind, because I've been working on it now since the week before we began this. And every week I go back and I fiddle some more, and I've dropped my personal branding stuff to focus on this because I know drop shipping will take care of itself in a big way. So I know that once I get it up and going, I can focus on some other things. So if you could give me some feedback, I'd be eternally grateful.
Are you gonna share screen? Or?
Sure. If I can.
Noel, please let Charlene share her screen.
I think, is this the right one?
Right.
Awesome sauce. Am I good? Wait, hold on. I did a thing. How do I make this go away?
What you want to go away?
Oh, my chat window is all up in my grill. Okay, hold on. Cool. Good?
Yeah, man.
Is this the top of the page?
It is.
Okay, all right.
All right. So the reason I went with female initially, I know there may be a male subset, is because generally, quote unquote, the women purchase the pet supplies for the house, most of the supplies for the house. And I went with an average age of 30 because I'm thinking that It's 2 o'clock. Sorry about that. Siri's rude. I was thinking that you have your newly married and you also have your homemakers. So you have your stay-at-home moms and you have your new homemakers. Generally speaking, people who give a rat's patootie about their pets and are willing to spend on higher end products are at the college grad demographic. And I'm thinking here a US $40,000 per annum. Usually it's a combined salary or sole salary of the earner of the home. And I'm looking at North America being the US and Canada as far as my major purchasing locations.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
If we go back to average age, how did you come up with 30?
Because I'm thinking about 20 tupsis, early 20s to mid 20s who have just become married, and your 30 middle age to lower end 30s of the ones who have the kids and now have the pets and have a baga. So I've met them in the middle, somewhere there at approximately 30.
Yeah, ma'am, but why? What I'm asking is, first of all, how did you know that this was your target group?
It's an assumption. It's
These are
something
the
I don't
assumptions
test,
that
but
you're
it's an
making.
assumption. Yeah, I'm not up and running, so I don't have much.
Oh, okay. Understood.
Again, my newly married versus my established wine moms. This is my
So you're assuming that the people who would buy, did you say it's not dog food? You said, but it's pet
Supplies.
products
yeah, and more
like
specifically
toys and stuff.
not toys, because there are a lot of legal issues surrounding both toys, food, and treats. So I'm avoiding those three specifically. I'm talking more of, like I said here,
Clothing.
supplies. So we're talking ceramic bowls, metal framed bowls, high-end dog beds, and high-end doggy gear, essentially clothing and accessories. So I very purposely stayed away from the other subcategories.
Okay, so you said moms.
I've said newlyweds and wine moms, like the moms of toddlers and up, generally the 30-ishes.
So can I ask you, how did you come up with that in terms of, I know it's an assumption you're making, but why? Because I look at
an educated assumption. I actually used to work for a pet company. I worked for one for 3 or 4 years. And I know who was calling in about certain things. You do have the older pet owners, and they're more set in their ways as far as other things. They don't really care so much about the aesthetics. They care more about things like the dog food branding. It's one of those situations where, why do you buy Nabisco? Because your mommy and your daddy and your granny bought Nabisco. So they're set in certain things and they feel very strongly about certain things. But are they going to feel strongly about a wrought iron doggy bowl? In my experience thus far, no.
Let me tell you
no, not sure, but I'm going to have to experiment with that and see where it goes. Again, it's all based on assumptions right now. Educated guesses nonetheless.
Okay, cool. Let me ask though. I look at where you're targeting, your locations, and you said North America, and you said the USA and Canada, right? Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, as far as I know, and this is a guess on my part, when you're looking at the USA, you see how they behave with their pets. They're very pet-friendly people over there in some of these areas. In the USA and Canada, the average household probably does have a pet, maybe a dog or something. They're into pets, is what I'm saying, right? So that's why I was wondering, where's the coincidence between the type of market that you're targeting, where a pet is a normal part of a household kind of thing, and the age range and the type of people, because you said newlyweds and you said moms.
Yes.
But as far as I know, just most households, and probably shouldn't say most, but a lot of households have pets. So why moms and why newlyweds exclusively?
That comes down to my pain points here.
Okay.
The newlyweds are the ones that are setting up house. They're the ones that have put a whole lot of effort into curating their space. They're the ones that are newly at home, just bought their first house, assuming the boom allows anybody to buy their first house at this point. And they've gone through the trouble of giving it this perfect YouTube aesthetic, and then they have a bright red plastic dog bowl. It doesn't fit. It doesn't work. So I am feeding off of the concept that newlyweds are building shop. Moms, they want to do that, but they don't have the time. They don't have the time to go about doing the interior design stuff, the matching. They just kind of want it to be super pretty and kind of go with all the work that they did 2, 3, 5 years in the past, and they want it to work. They don't want to leave the house right now because who the heck wants to? They don't have the time to leave the house right now because little Timmy is crying, and who the heck wants to? And as far as the newlyweds, I do have those pets. I do know that the majority of persons have a pet. I have 1 dog and 1 cat. My store is named after my dog. I live far in half of the year. I get this. I know this. They want to pour into their pets the way that they pour into their fur, into their real pets.
Are you a newlywed or a mom?
I am in my 30s, and yes, I am an adoptive mother. And I also don't have the time. I'm also a disabled person, so I don't leave the house to shop. My dirt, and that's another demographic I did not think of. I do have a child with me a portion of the year, but all of the year I can't leave my yard to get what I want. And when I do go into any pet store, especially locally, they're bright, red, blue, plastic, ugly.
Okay, so I am still stuck at why newlyweds and moms, but I'm not gonna belabor the point. I'm not gonna belabor the point, but I think you need to do a little bit more work on that kind of demographic, because and then especially because you said that these are the persons who are setting up homes. More and more people are actually, single people are buying homes. And I saw something on CNN recently speaking particularly to that point in the US, but I am not familiar with the market, so again, I'm not going to belabor the point, but I would question whether or not you are not just like, because there's niching and there's micro niching, and micro niching may not be the best thing for you to do because of what the subject matter, which is pets. So you may not need to like micro niche as much as that, because somebody in the chat brought up something to say that much older empty nesters who also think of their dogs as children would spend a lot of money on certain kind of high-end products. So that could also be some.
Cool. But I know if I had come up here and said someone 22 to 65, you would have said too broad. So this is one of them.
I'm only questioning the moms and the married people thing.
That's still in that age group though, the 20 odd to 30 something. Even if I'd done 25 to 40, that would have eliminated the empty nesters as well. Now, I don't negate that they're a target. I'm saying for the purpose of this worksheet and the purpose of these conversations, I know if I'd come up here and given 3 generations worth of people, you would have been wrong.
That is true, but I'm mentioning it because I am still not, based on what you said, I don't understand the married people in their 20s and the 30-something moms. I don't get that, but as I said, I'm not going to belabor that point, but so there are some other things that we can look at on your thing as well. So what else were you able to complete?
Where they are online, there are still those who frequent Facebook. That's not so much a younger group anymore. IGs were everybody literally and their mama. YouTube, but for very specific things like the beauty industry that you would find the young 20s and 30s, the ones without kids who have the time to be fiddling with their face on a daily basis. Pinterest is most people as they scroll through trying to figure out what to put in the crock pot for that day. I don't think they spend too much time online, especially as you go towards those moms, but the time that they do spend online is usually during the week because weekends are family time. So they have time when kids are napping, or they have time while they do their face in the morning, or they have time while dinner is prepping. But on the weekends when everybody is home, it's usually mommy this, mommy that, or they're busy off weekending with their new husbands and or wives, depending on their proclivities. I don't know about the hours per se. I know that my view of it is pretty skewed because I spend an inordinate amount of time online. Like it's shocking. Every time my phone tells me how many hours per day I spend online, I shame myself. So
right, but you're not. Are you a part of your target audience?
To an extent, yes. Am I a pet obsessed person who'd probably spend too much on a dog bowl? Goodly.
So are you? So you say you're just a thing up. So you have no social media platforms?
All I did was go on and secure the names to ensure they wouldn't go anywhere. But every time I post a site, I pull it because I want to make.
What about your competitors?
Katie, hold on, push pause. I'm gonna push pause because we're almost at 2:10, and I know that Noel had mentioned that our sponsor, the Scotiabank Sagicor, representative, would have been here and available to speak with persons. I will say, because I know that many of you guys have more questions and more discussions and stuff to be had. You can always, we're gonna share our contact details. And those of you who would have gone through the process of downloading these documents, we'll have your information. Now, if you didn't download the information, unfortunately, we don't have your contact details. And so we will send out some information to you guys, some feedback, as well as if you guys need to get in touch with us directly, we can facilitate some further consultations and share with you other resources that you could actually take advantage of. Someone had asked before, I think it was Claire, forgive me if I chose the wrong name, was asking about, can we pay somebody to do this? Yes, you most definitely can. But at the very least, you need to understand what are the fundamentals that go into this process, so that you can either contribute, you can advise, you can guide, and you can lead and kind of direct your business.
Right, and so people don't take a bit more.
Take it for food.
Take
Yeah.
a bit more, right? You need
Right.
to have a basic understanding.
So I'm gonna wrap it up here. I'm gonna just say thank you on behalf of myself and Kadia. It's been a pleasure joining and sharing with you guys. We're gonna share some details in terms of contacts in the chat. But we both soon have to go. We have another appointment.
Bush and Water said
let's talk one-a-ways. I don't want to monopolize the what is happening, what is happening within this space. All right, so let's talk one away, or you can drop a message within the chat. We'll be here for a few minutes before we transition over to our next engagement. All right, guys, thank you so much.
Hi guys. Thank you, ladies, for another amazing informative session. Thank you so much. All right, guys, we are a bit over time as Monique expressed, so we're just going to move straight into the Ask Sagicor segment. And today's business banker who will be joining us is Shakera Lee, and she'll be speaking to us on loan offerings and products. So you can make her feel welcome. I'm going to give her the floor now. And for those of you who are new, when you're asking questions, just use that hashtag #AskSagicor in the chat. Drop your questions in the chat. I'll be moderating the chat, as well as you have the option to raise your hand so that you can speak directly to the business banker and have a conversation in front of the group as well. All right, so let's make Shakera feel welcome, everybody. Hi, Shakera.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon.
Welcome back.
Thank you. All right, as was indicated before, today I'm going to be speaking on the topic of loans. Now, before I get into the loan offerings that we have here at Sagicor, I just want to outline for everyone here, since a lot of persons here have new businesses, what is required to make you eligible for a loan. Because as a business banker, what I realize is that a lot of the times we get calls and persons are like, oh, I want a loan to buy a truck for my business or it's for working capital. But when we get into it, a lot of the preliminaries that are required for loans are missing. And so it derails the application and it extends the time that is required for us to process it, because you now have to go and get these things in place. So a bit of advice that I'm going to provide. One, if you want to get a loan, ensure that your business is registered. It is absolutely important that your business is registered. Most financial houses know, and I'm talking about regulated financial houses, will not give loans to businesses that are not registered. Ensure that you are tax compliant. So once your business is registered, you are required to file your tax returns annually. And once you are tax compliant, you will get what we call a TCC, tax compliance certificate, from the tax office. It is important that you have that. It's important that you do proper record keeping for those businesses that already exist. Ensure that if it is even in an Excel sheet, that you are monitoring your expenses, you're monitoring your income, and you have those things being handled separate from your personal affairs. So that's the next point as well. D, ensure that you have a bank account, that you do the transactions for the company through that bank account and not commingle funds that you have for your personal use. What is also good is to pay yourself a salary. What we realize is that a lot of persons, they have the business accounts, they have everything that I mentioned before, and they just go in the accounts and they draw funds to do whatever it is that they want to do. And that can sometimes create problems because they can't indicate what it is these funds were used for, it comes up in your financials and it creates problems. So if it is even to pay yourself a set salary and have that money come out of the business account every month into your personal account, then it's important that you do that so that you don't have the business's affairs being commingled with your personal affairs. Once you have these things, I can't guarantee that, yes, everything else will be smooth from there, but it does help to decrease the processing time for getting you up and running with a loan. Now, where loans are concerned, the very basic loan, and most persons don't look at it as a loan, but the most basic loan is a credit card. I'm not going to get into that much because I know that there was another session slotted for this week that they do discuss credit cards. But that's the easiest form of a loan that you can get, and it helps to build your credit. Now, your credit history is very important in getting a loan, especially if you are a sole trader. You are considered to be one with your business, so your personal credit report will be used in determining whether or not you get that loan. So if you have bad credit for yourself, even though the business itself, you have not done any borrowing under the business's name, but under your personal name, you have done borrowing and your credit is bad, it is going to affect your ability to get that loan for the business. So it's important too that you try to keep your credit history good. And the credit card is one way that you can start to build your credit history and pay it on time, at least the minimum amount, so that your credit report is not affected and your credit score remains high. Now, outside of the credit card, we do have other lending arrangements that we have. Excuse me, sorry. You know what? She's at lunch. I'm just collecting in the possible. Sorry about that. Where was I? Yes. In terms of lending facilities that we have, we do offer loans to startups in conjunction with the DBJ. But as I indicated before, you would need to have all the documents mentioned before in order. And for a new business, it's also important that you have a business plan in place. So if you're going to be new, you're just starting up and you're seeking to get funding for this new venture, it's important that you have that business plan. Now, the good thing is, I know a lot of startups do not have collateral or security, and we know that a lot of small businesses, that's the challenge they have with getting loans. The DBJ does offer themselves as guarantors for these loans. They will do up to 80%, and you can therefore be able to borrow unsecured loans with the DBJ standing as the guarantors. However, and I cannot reiterate this enough, you will need to have your documents in order. Outside of that, you have the usual credit that you can get, of course, secured lending, where you can use cash. If you don't have cash, that offers the easiest turnaround time. You can use motor vehicles. Right now, those motor vehicles, however, would have to be 5 years old or younger. You can also use property. Property is always something that's accepted, but if you are going to use your property, you're going to need a valuation, a current valuation from our approved list of valuators. The same for the motor vehicle as well. You are going to need a current valuation from our approved list of valuators. And loans can be given for working capital support. So let's say you have bills to pay to suppliers, you have inventory that you want to buy, or just equipment that you want to buy as well. Loans are available for those things. I think that's it in terms of covering the basics where loans are concerned. Most of it will be done on a one-on-one basis for other persons that are interested. So I'm going to open the floor for any questions that you may have to ask now.
Okay, so we have a question in the chat from Anonymous Mail. All right, she's asking, how do you improve bad credit?
Well, your credit history stays with you for many years. However, each month, I don't know if you've ever seen a credit report that we get from the credit bureaus, but each month they're scored. And therefore, each time you do what is required, the basic necessities like paying your loan on time, even if you're unable to pay the full amount, especially where credit cards are concerned. If you pay this amount on time, then you find that gradually your credit improves. It may not jump from being very bad to very good in a short space of time, but take it month by month. Now, what is very important, especially where credit cards are concerned, we find that a lot of persons will say, oh, they racked up a very high credit card bill and they can't pay it, so now they're just gonna let it sit there until they find the funds, and they're gonna use the funds that they do have and make the purchases directly. My recommendation for that would be put that money that you have to spend on the credit card and use the credit card to make those purchases, because it goes towards clearing that outstanding balance that you have, and whatever you spend now would not be due until the following month, depending on your cycle. It may vary, but it helps to bring that bad credit down, especially if the credit card is something that you have on your credit report as something that has not been financed well. Any other questions?
Yes, so Kemoy, she's asking if she's overseas, can she open a credit card in Jamaica if she has a TRN?
You can, but in terms of the payment for the credit card, because ability to pay is something that is always taken into consideration. So that income, is the source of the income overseas or is it local?
Kemoy, would you like to raise your hand so I can give you the floor?
Hello.
Hi, Kemoy.
Hi. It would be the income is based overseas.
The income is based overseas. Well, we don't have an issue per se lending to persons overseas, and like I said, a credit card is a form of a loan. However, you will be required to provide us with verification of that income from overseas, as well as an overseas credit report. So there are several credit bureaus there, and we'd have to get that credit report from that credit bureau overseas. So the short answer is yes, it's possible. You may have to provide a little more information, but yes, it is possible.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you for that question, Kemoy. We have another from Tanya, and she's asking how she can get her own business banco.
Oh, she can repeat that for me, please?
Sorry,
Hello?
I was muted. She asked how can she go about getting a business banco?
All right, at Sagicor, how it works is once you have a business account, you are assigned a business banker for your portfolio, depending on where your account is. So I am domiciled to the Tropical Plaza branch. So our business accounts here would be assigned to me as their business banker. Now, once you are assigned a business banker, you get the personal contact information for that business banker. You get their email address, their straight line, their cell number, so that you can have that one-on-one conversation for anything that you need. So that's how we work here. So once you have your account open at a branch, if you don't know who your business banker is, because business bankers do change from time to time. Personally, I'm also new here, so I may or may not have made contact with all the persons in my portfolio at this point. But based on where you would have gone to open your account, you can ask to speak with the business banker so you can establish that relationship. And if it is that you also want to move your account from one place to another, that is something that you can do. If it is that you know a business banker from another branch that you would prefer to handle your business. But once you have that account opened at any branch at Sagicor, you are assigned a business banker once it's a business account.
Okay. All right. She followed up and she said that two persons in the chat said they don't have a business banker. However, they do have a business account. So what you're saying is that they need to reach out to the bank that they have the account at to make contact with the business banker.
Yes.
Okay.
Most of our branches have business bankers. At this point, I believe the Manor Park branch doesn't currently have a business banker, nor the branch at downtown Duke Street. However, if outside of those two branches, every other branch should have one, so you can reach out there to find out who your business banker is. If you are at any of those locations, though, you will be assigned to a business banker. Once you reach out and make contact, just advise which branch you prefer to deal with based on location, because if it is closer to you and you would need to meet with your business banker face to face, then I guess it would be best to get in touch with a business banker from a location that is convenient to you. So once you reach out, you can let them know, if there isn't a business banker assigned to that branch, which branch you would prefer to get a business banker to deal with your account.
Okay. All right. And Tanya is asking if she can do this without going into office.
Yes, you can. You can. You can. So make contact via the phone and they will put you on. But yes, you can.
Okay, awesome. All right, not seeing any more questions right now, but guys, I'm encouraging you to ask your questions. This is the last loan and offerings segment with Ask Sagicor that you'll be able to really go in depth on this topic. So feel free to raise your hands and I'll give you the floor to speak to Shakera directly, or you can drop the questions in the chat as you have been doing. Do you have anything else?
Sorry, I see where somebody has indicated that they don't have a business bank and their account is at Portmore.
Right.
Yes, we don't have a business bank assigned to the Portmore branch either. So that is one of them that you'd have to reach out to try and get assigned to a business banker. Outside of the business bankers, though, for those branches, you find that the branch managers who are very capable would sometimes provide that personalized service on managing the business accounts. So, like I said, reach out to your branch to see what is the best option that is available.
Right. All right. No further questions right now, Shakera. So is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
Nothing else I'd like to share at the moment. I am going to leave you guys with my email address though. It is Shakera, that's SHAKERA _Lee, LEE, at sagicor.com. Feel free to send an email if after this you have other questions that you just thought of, or if they weren't addressed and you'd rather have that conversation one-on-one or in private. Feel free to send an email to that email address that I provided and I'll get back to you on that one.
All right, thank you. And I'm just dropping that in the chat for you as well so people can have your email address. And also, guys, as we've been doing, if there are any questions that you think about after the segment or anything like that, just drop it in the chat with Ask Sagicor and your specific query that you want more details on. And we'll also get it over to Shakera or another Sagicor representative who will reach out to you. All right. So thank you so much, Shakera, for joining us again today and providing us with your business insights. Really appreciate you guys.
You're welcome. So I'm leaving now. Bye, guys. Take care.
Bye. Okay. All right, guys. So that is it for today's session. As you know, we're going to be leaving the room open for our co-working session. I still see Monique online. I'm not sure if they'll be taking any more questions from you guys. If you guys want to raise your hands to ask more questions, share with the group based on what you learned today, you can just raise your hand. I'll give you the floor. All right. Of course, I have to officially thank all of you for coming out again to today's session. Without your attendance and commitment to this workshop, the bootcamp would not be the success that it is. So thank you so much, guys, for showing up every day, especially those of you who are literally here every day and our familiar faces. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Of course, we have to officially thank Monique and Kader for their awesome teamwork in presenting and moderating this morning. Those girls work really great together, and we really appreciate the value that they consistently share from week to week. We also have to big up our sponsors, Sagicor Bank. Without them, this would not be possible. And they also facilitate the question and answer segment that really allows you guys to, you know, talk one-on-one with a business banker who can help you with your businesses and streamline your processes. So we're really also appreciative with Sagicor, for Sagicor and their investment in the creative industries. So thank you, big thanks to Sagicor Bank and our team lead, Contessa Graham, on this project from Sagicor Bank as well. Thank you so much, Contessa, for your dedicated work to this project. All right, I'm going to leave it there for today. Yeah, I see in the chat saying Monique and Katie are yin yang balance. Yes, I agree. Aya, yes, you can access yesterday's session. Just send me your email address, guys. If there are any of you who did not get any of the resources, just send me your email address and I will get them to you. And you can also let me know the specific workshops you're interested in. All right. So I'm going to leave the chat open now for you guys to co-work and network and chit chat. Thank you again for coming, and we'll see you tomorrow for the e-commerce and sale workshops. The workshop, the follow-up workshop for the e-commerce workshop that we missed last week because Kirk's attendant Wi-Fi connection failed, is tentatively on for tomorrow. You'll definitely get a confirmation this afternoon. But what we would do, because Kirk doesn't usually use the entire 2 hours for his presentations, is opt out of having the co-working session at the end of the seminar and instead give that hour towards the session that we missed. So we'd have a 3-hour session tomorrow for both workshops, the intermediate and advanced workshop that Kirk would go through with you. And of course, like I said, you'll get your confirmation email today that that is in fact what will happen. So thank you guys for joining us again. And I think that is it. So have a good day.